Thank you for joining me. So I will be using the same passage from Revelation 12 as we go through these next few videos. To be honest, I don't know how many it will be, because one of the things that I've been wanting to do is share all of my testimony in order. I've shared bits and pieces, but it says in Revelation 12:11, but they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, for they did not cling to life even in the face of death. So your testimony is pivotal to who you are, and I'm going to share mine, and there will be details that I will not be sharing simply because there are some things that have happened to me when I was a child, and there are certain events of my life that people are not aware of, and I'm not going to put it out there for this channel to have that information to be out there for eternity, because it doesn't do any good in talking about things that I can't control. It doesn't do any good to talk about things that I can't change. So there will be parts of this that I'm just not going to share, but it is things that happened to me personally, things that were done to me personally, and that portion of this is not going to be shared. But everything else, I'm just going to tell you my story, because our stories are important and it makes us who we are. So I mentioned to you that in multiple videos that I grew up Lutheran. I went to Sunday school, I went through confirmation, and I always went to church, even after confirmation, post high school, etc. I always went to church. I was blessed enough to recognize that people who went to church their lives seemed to be a little bit smoother, and I didn't want all of the other things that other people were going through in their lives. I just went to church. I always liked it, and I always went. So I was the fourth generation of my family to go to the exact same church, and I was heavily steeped in being Lutheran. I was proud of it, and because my life was better when I went to church. And because I didn't per se fall off the cliff like so many people, I thought that I knew what biblical truth was. And I was pretty critical of others because they weren't fourth generation Lutheran. And what in the world could they possibly know? So for me, I just was heavily steeped and very proud of my Lutheran heritage. And I knew that life was better if I went to church. I was married in the Lutheran church, and I have children, which I haven't even mentioned in any videos before, but all of my children were born while I was attending the Lutheran church. I also was heavily involved in volunteering just in every aspect of churches, all those different organizations. It's not really worth mentioning, but I was heavily involved in volunteering. That was very important to me. But I have to back up here, because I honestly, had I known the significance of this, I would have written it down, but I don't. I'm telling the story. You've heard me tell it before, but I'm sitting there in the pew one day, and as Lutherans, we would have confirmation once a month. And the pastor stood up there and he stretched out his arms and said something like, by the powers of vested in him, my sins are forgiven. And I remember thinking, why can't I just do that on my own? And that was the very first thing that I remember questioning in my upbringing. Like, why do I need him? I should be able to do that for myself. Ask for forgiveness. Now, keep in mind, because I was so heavily steeped in this, me leaving the church, it was not a quick process. It was pretty lengthy, because to tear down all of that steeped religiousness in me, to take away that pride so that I could leave, that took time. I'm not going to say it was easy, because this was the very first thing that I recognized. And then there were other things that I recognized later, but that was the very first thing. So, all right, on to testimony part 2. Armor up, we ride at dawn. May God bless you as always. Have a great day.